Friday. My name is Karen Wilson, and I am happy to be your president this year. If I could have Ken White, Tom Morton, and Gordon Welby come forward and help us open our meeting.
Good afternoon. As we gather here today as members of the Rotary, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community, keeping in mind always the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. Let us continue to strive to make a better world. We pray also in honor of Memorial Day for all of the service members who gave the ultimate sacrifice to protect our country for our freedom as Americans. Amen.
Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, raise your glass. We have several milestones today. Member birthdays: Nelson Barrett, May 26th. Frida Davidson, May 26th, and George Lorigan, May 28th. Spouses' birthdays: Jeff Cartledge's wife, Lizzie, May 27th. Anniversaries: Derek and Rosie McGill, 16 years on the 24th. Elizabeth and Stephen McFarland, 18 years on the 27th. Howell and Joan Davidson, 66 years on the 29th. And Randy and Mickey Mongold, 49 years on May 30th. Club anniversaries are Frida Davidson, 12 years. Wilson Morris, 14 years. Chris Cash, 9 years, and Rondi Morales, 11 years. Salute.
Thank you very much. Okay, if you brought a guest today, would you please stand and introduce your guest?
My guest today is a co-worker that just joined us at the bank here at South Star in Georgetown. Eileen.
I have several guests who exemplify service above self in Georgetown. My wife, Linda, Karen Cole, Bob Novello, and the president of our Williamson County Y, Jeff Andreessen.
Okay, do we have any visiting Rotarians? Do we have a couple?
My name is Michael Kreitler, and I'm a visiting Rotarian from Carmel, Israel.
My name is Sam Smith, and I'm visiting from across town.
I'm so glad you're here today. I want to make you aware that one of our wonderful Rotarians, Henry, wave at us so we can see who you are. Henry tapes our meetings every week and he puts them on YouTube so you can use them as makeups or whatever you desire. Okay, the next thing I want to do is thank people that helped with our last ramp meal that was held in Hutto last Saturday. So as I call your name, would you please stand to be recognized so we can thank you for your service above self. George Morgan, Chris Cash, Dennis Pepin, Steve Shaw, Larry Baird, Henry Yu, Bill Connor, Terry Eckerts, Alan Johnson, Rhonda Pritchard, and Larry Bingham. Thank you all. And Sam would like to make an announcement today. So Sam, would you like to come forward?
Thank you, Karen. How many times have people seen me here talking about Tango Flight? You know, this is a program we got started about building airplanes. I really am here to thank you for your support, because when you get a program started, what you want to look for is outcomes and measurable outcomes. So the program is now in its third year, and our class, of course, is graduating in a week or so, but we've been cataloging our scholarships for this year's class, and I'm here to announce that we've gotten over $500,000 in scholarships for the kids in Tango Flight. We were very surprised when we got a $200,000 scholarship for one of our students to go to Emory-Riddle, which is in effect a free ride. Excuse me. But then they surprised us the next week with a second one. So those two students got a combined total of $400,000. Now, as a parent or grandparent, imagine the joy to the family that brings. So, but we got another full ride up to Wichita State and a whole series of other contracts. So it is returning to the community. And I want to thank you for all your support. And we're building more airplanes next year.
That is totally amazing. Thank you so much, Sam, for letting us know about that. Well, today is another early act first night, knighting ceremony. If you all have time, please go to Pearl Elementary this afternoon at 1:30 for that. I guarantee it'll make your day. Allison McKee, would you like to make an announcement?
Our next Rotary Social is going to be May 31st at Elmont. It's going to be a fun event. They now have a reservation system, so we'll have our own little area somewhere. I hope you'll be able to make it.
Thank you. Those are always fun. And don't forget that's a makeup. When you come to our socials, you get counted as a makeup. Okay, I want to remind you about June 7th again. A lot of you have responded to our request to bring everything up to date as far as your accounts go. Just another friendly reminder that that date's coming up pretty quick. And George Oliver, I think you had asked to make an announcement. Where's George? There he is.
Thank you, Karen. A couple of months ago, David Masserang, as chair of the membership committee, made an announcement about a new effort that the club is doing called Family of Rotary. One of the things that we do is we look at the weekly attendance sheets, and we notice if you have missed several weeks in a row, you'll be getting a telephone call asking if everything is all right and that we miss seeing you here. That's me making those calls, so you'll hear from me. But the other thing that the Family of Rotary would like to move into doing is being a clearinghouse kind of for news of the membership, concerns or celebrations that may affect everyone. If there's a medical concern or a death or even good news, then we want to be able to share that with the club. For example, I have an announcement that 2 days ago, my daughter-in-law made me a grandfather for the first time. So. Thank you. I know I look way too young to be a grandfather, but it's true. So that's an example of the kind of news that we would like to do. We want to avoid someone saying things out of school, because oftentimes personal information is just that. But if you can get it to me, I will call the person, make sure that it's cleared for general announcements, and just kind of bring you up to date on what's going on in the club, and maybe some individuals that are going through some personal either concerns or celebrations. Thank you very much.
Well, that'll be nice. Thank you so much, George. As you know, a few weeks ago, we gave away a lot of money in scholarships, and we are so excited to share some good news with y'all today. Danny's here to read some things to you.
First of all, thanks again for that meeting where we did give away $28,000 in your hard-earned revenues towards the club for our scholarships across the high school students. I got to attend the distribution ceremony on the Monday following that, and just outstanding kids, they really were. And some of them were multiple recipients, so good job to the committee for some selection. These are a few thank yous we received. One of them was from our student, Cassidy Salyer, and I had to read it. Wilson, you're not here, are you? Wilson read some of these last week, but I had to read this one out loud. Thank you for selecting me to represent as a recipient to the Rotary Scholarship. This scholarship means a lot to me and will be very helpful in reaching my future goals. I've been to a few of the Rotary meetings on behalf of our interacting for various reasons, and each time I love it. Thank you all for what you've done for me. Again, P.S., and this is for Wilson, I love the announcer. He is hilarious. I'm glad she noted that. From one of our teachers, I know most of you know that the students are allowed to select an inspirational teacher, and the club awards them a $100 stipend check. So this is for one of the teachers that was not able to attend. Dear Georgetown Rotarians, I wanted to thank you for the way that you honored me as an inspirational teacher. I was unable to attend the luncheon due to a death in the family, and I was shocked when my principal, Dr. Denny, brought the letter and the check. What an honor and surprise. I am humbled by your generosity. Thank you for your service and your support of literacy and education. Sincerely, Corey Learwright from Eastview High School. And then from our teacher recipient of her continuing education scholarship, dear Rotary Club of Georgetown, I want to take a minute of your time to express my abounding gratitude for the Teacher Scholarship Award for which I received. When I took on the challenge of pursuing my master's degree in education administration, I knew it would be a financial challenge for my family. It was through much prayer that I felt the presence that passes understanding that the funding would find its way to being provided. Receiving your financial award is not only a blessing, but a true testimony in the following of my faith. I cannot thank you enough. Yours truly, Jennifer Buckley. Thank you all for what you do to help these kids.
Well, that certainly was a fun meeting. There's no doubt about that. Jeannie Cox would like to make an announcement.
Thank you, Karen. First thing I'd like to ask is tomorrow we have Heroes Night Out. It's the annual barbecue. We're going to be feeding about 3,800 to 4,000 veteran families. And we have a free booth there for Field of Honor. We really need some help to cover that booth. Danny Swafford, thank you for agreeing to come and help us set everything up. But after that, from especially 10 to 3, we need help manning the booth. Michael and I will be there. I know George will be there, but we need more people, and we have some brochures that are hot off the press. So if you can, I'd really appreciate it. Just see me after the meeting today. Also, on Monday, there is a wonderful program for Memorial Day at Veterans Memorial Plaza. The entire Del Webb Boulevard is lined with some of our flags from the Field of Honor. And people by the hundreds are just raving about how beautiful they are. And they're right under the lights, so they're lit at night. And they're guarded by their cops' security. So if you can go 9:30 actually on Monday, you have some of these on your table. Please join us. They will be recognizing the Rotary Club of Georgetown for lending them the flags. Thank you.
Okay, I think with that, I'm going to ask Danny Meigs to please come forward and introduce our speaker for the day.
Thank you, Karen. I'm very happy to have you learn more about the good things our Georgetown YMCA is doing. I know firsthand the positive impact the YMCA can have in communities. And we're fortunate to have Kat Phelps here in Georgetown leading our YMCA. She's definitely making a positive impact here. So Kat, come tell us about it.
I usually don't wear heels to Rotary, but I knew I needed to be tall enough so you could see me in the back. Hello, and hello, my friends at the back table. How are you? It's different sitting in the front. As Danny said, my name is Kat, and one of the most important things you should know about me before I click through this is I didn't grow up in the Y. I didn't have a Y story when I grew up, but as we go through this, we're going to talk about why that's okay, what the Y is doing today. And to understand what we're doing in Georgetown, I want to take a little bit of a time to talk about what the Y has been up to. So if we can go to the next slide, that'd be awesome. So when I answered a job ad in the late thousands in Wichita via newspaper, because that's how we did it, right? You had to put a resume in. The very first thing I learned about the Y was the mission. I learned it so much that we had to recite it if asked. And so I can look at you proudly and say the mission of the Y is to put Christian principles into practice through programs that build healthy spirit, mind, and body for all. And there's a lot happening in that mission, and if those of you have been around the Y or seen the Y, hopefully you've benefited or felt it firsthand. That was what hooked me, was the Y, was the mission, was that there was this really cool movement out there of community leaders and volunteers who deep down just really wanted to make the world a better place. And so as we go to the next slide, insert awkward pause here, yes? No, you're good. I'll tell you a little bit about the mission while we unpack that. So a couple things. So the Y is built on Christian principles. So those principles represent the principles of being humble, carrying ourselves with humility, being a servant leader, being integrity with everything that we do. And the other great thing about the Y is that we truly believe in the word all. And as you can see the next slide that popped up, this talks about the triangle. So right here, when I learned about the triangle, that was it. I was stuck. I had no ambitions and didn't even know I could be a professional camp counselor for my entire life, and that kickball and snack could be job descriptions, but they are. And the triangle is what roots us all together. So I tell people all the time that the YMCA is comprised of two things. We're comprised of people that understand that inside each one of us is a triangle, where your mind and your body supports your spirit. And when your mind and body are strong, your spirit is strong. And when your triangle is strong, then nothing can unshake you. And we're also a group of people that choose something. So if we can go to the next one, I'll show you that. So as we choose something, it's important to know where we came from. And there's a lot of words on here because there's a lot to talk about. So I pulled some of the highlights. All right. 1844 was when the Y was founded. We started in London, England. And in 1851, we came to Boston. The first YMCA was in Boston. A really interesting fact is the Y's had a deep connection to the military and the history throughout our 175 years. So you'll see in 1864, 5,000 volunteers were called up to help support during the Civil War. As we fast forward, 1889 was our first summer camp, was when it was started. So Camp Dudley was where camping as we know it began. 1889, some of you may be familiar with High Y or High Y Junior. Those clubs got kicked off. Shortly after, swimming lessons came on. There was one aquatics director in Detroit that had a mission to teach as many kids how to swim in 4 weeks. And from then on, we've been teaching kids to swim now for over 100 years. 1919, we are serving alongside various other organizations during the First World War, providing support and chaplain and ministry to those in need. In 1926, Indian Guides. Anybody go through Indian Guides or familiar? I see some hands going up. Yes, Indian Guides, okay. Indian Guides is still alive and well, by the way. So we're doing a lot of great things there. That began at the St. Louis Y. Youth in Government kicked off. A lot of people don't know that the Y is an active partner in Youth in Government, and we have a phenomenal Youth in Government program going in Williamson County. Tell you what, those kids are going to change the world one day. I believe it, and the future looks bright. 1930, this is just kind of an interesting fact. I like this because it connects to the Y's purpose with the mind. Was the Y operated 30 universities across cities to ensure that access to education was available to all. As you can see, 1945 is when the YMCA with other organizations helped find and start the USO, which is obviously alive and thriving, and I know our club does a lot to support that, so I want to make sure we connected there. Williamson County started in 1981, so we're babies if you think about it, right? 1844 to 1981. Not much we finally were getting there as a community, and as we've seen, even since I've been here, the growth has been pretty remarkable, hasn't it, as people have come through. 1990, Healthy Kids Day forms, and then I just kind of threw this in there to just give you a little bit of a timeline. 2013 is when we opened our Hutto facility, and then our Georgetown Y opened its maker space in 2016. So what are some of our firsts? Because we've been busy. We invented basketball. Yeah, we say it just like that. We invented basketball. We invented volleyball. The Professional Football League got its start at the YMCA. Handball, swimming lessons, summer camp, Father's Day, and Toastmasters. And the list is very long for YMCA firsts. And that's simply because as staff and volunteers, we tend to not be very good with idle time on our hands. So we decided to start doing things. So I'm very grateful that Dr. Naismith picked up a basketball and a peach basket. If not, we wouldn't have March Madness and nobody would lose money at the end of March. One of the terrific things about the Y is our financial assistance program. So when we say all, we also believe that it's our passion and our calling to be able to say yes. If we believe that the Y is good, then we believe that all of our neighbors should be able to access the Y. So when somebody comes into the Y and is unable to access it for financial reasons, for whatever that may be, we're compelled to say yes. We said yes to the tune of $1.35 million locally last year alone. That's a lot of kids to camp. That's a lot of seniors able to access programming. That's a lot of swimming lessons. That's a lot of before and after school programming. We say yes. I want to make sure that I also communicate that the Y very much stands on its charitable shoulders, because we truly mean that. And the reason I say that is we're getting into a season where some of you have helped us or helped the Y or been a part of it at some point, and every dollar that we raise is 100% given back out. So there's no admin or operations or anything taken into that. A dollar in is a dollar given. So I like to tell young camp counselors, when you sell that sticky pickle or popsicle mid-July and you get $1, well, if you sell 100 of those, you just send a kid to camp. And that's phenomenal because they get to experience firsthand the joy of learning to swim or finally hitting the bullseye at archery for the first time. And we want every child in Williamson County to have that opportunity. So, that's big picture YMCA. Notice I didn't include that in the 60s there was a really famous song that was wrote at the YMCA. I can be the first to tell you though that if you really do listen to the lyrics, I do think it was probably fun to stay at the YMCA when it was a dorm. You could get yourself fed, you could have a good time, right? So I think it's probably pretty historically accurate. So happening at your Georgetown Y, we'll go to the next one. So we're obviously very active with our after-school and summer camp programs. We've been a proud partner with GISD, providing before and after-school care to over 400 kiddos every day. So 6:30 in the morning, the doors are open, and here comes fresh, smiling, a little tired faces ready to take on the day. They usually don't have their homework done, so we finish that up about 7 o'clock. We have 2 summer camps, and we're also expanding our work into middle schools and enrichments. And compliments to Seeds to Strength, last month we were going to be able to offer a free Y Teen Time the month of July to ensure our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders have a safe place to go, and they can also have some fun at the YMCA. We do have senior and fitness activities. So these represent some of the ladies that hang out and do yoga. They've encouraged me to participate, but I think my job is to open the door and let them really have their moment. So I think they would be way better at it than I ever would be, but they've done a phenomenal job. We're up to around 10 ladies that are there every Monday, and the program is expanding to twice a week in the fall. If they could do it every day, and the lady that instructs it for us would be there, I'm pretty sure it would be going every single day. We're looking to add more opportunities, whether it be crafting, woodworking. If you have a club group or a bridge group that needs a place to meet, well, you should see me afterwards, because I'm always up for a good pie and it's good social time. And I'm a pitch player, so if anybody plays pitch and we need to get that going, just let me know. I promise I won't cheat. Youth sports, so we've been very active with youth sports. You can see there at the top, we've got a parent scoring a goal and a kiddo. That's how we always wrap up some of our younger leagues. It's always fun. That picture was taken at Gethsemane, and you'll see a few more pictures from that to come. I'm very happy to announce that our plus teams, this is a big deal, our 8U flag football league champions, that's right, and 2 seasons in a row, fall and spring. So apparently Georgetown football at about 10 years looks really good with some flag football kids. And our 10U soccer team won as well this year. So we've seen some really tremendous success with our plus sports. Now rookies, this is glorified chase the ball. That's about what it looks like, and they'll let people like me even coach, and we'll even let Ron come out at Gethsemane and kick the ball. And honestly think Dr. Swain's probably a better soccer coach than I am, so we appreciate that. But you can see we've been very active. We have our Wellspring group. You can see Coach Kenny there leading our intramural basketball kiddos, and we had over 100 kids play after-school basketball with us through the various elementary schools. So new to us is this meeting them where they are. So we're a branch without walls. We're a non-traditional branch. We believe in taking the mission to where they are. The reality is we have groups in our community where being able to get to practice at 5:30 just doesn't fit their normal schedule, whether it be they have multiple jobs or they have things that they have to overcome. This is just a quick glimpse into what it looks like to do Head Start soccer for 55 of my tiniest friends at the Head Start community right over at the Mary Bailey. They're doing a terrific job. If anybody's interested, soccer graduation is Tuesday, where they're going to get their medal and their soccer balls. So good stuff happening there. And I couldn't help, but this was the barbecue from Gethsemane. So we want to thank Dr. Swain for his generosity of opening up the field space for us there. It's wonderful to see that part of the community come alive on Monday nights, and we didn't interrupt too many meetings as the little soccer players hurriedly went to the bathroom in and out of the lobby. But if we ever interrupted your meeting, I apologize. But they did a terrific job, and if you have anybody in that age group that you'd like to hang out with us, we'd be more than happy to see them. So just a quick note on aquatics. This just represents some of the things we do. We manage some different HOA pools, so these would be the lifeguards enjoying some in-service last summer. We managed a pool out in Santa Rita. We taught over 30 kids to swim last year alone at that pool, and we've already got about 75 kids slated to learn to swim this summer. So we're doing everything we can to ensure that swimming is not a leading cause of death for any age group of child. So you can see some enrichments. I just wanted to get, you guys are sitting here going, wow, I didn't know she was doing all this. And that was kind of the purpose, is I wanted to make sure you had a good idea of that we were accomplishing. So near and dear to our CEO's heart, we have woodworking. So the kids are in there using saws, getting their fun on, and building birdhouses. We're doing cooking. And we're very excited then about the next slide, which is steam power. So this is a true blessing. This program has been happening over the last couple of weeks. We awarded a grant last fall from Southwestern University for putting young ladies into science classes to help move the needle and close the gender gap when they get older. They funded us for 35 kids. We met with Benold Elementary, and the science teachers came back to us 2 days later and said, we can't pick 35, but we have 118. Well, if you know me, the answer was, okay, we'll make it work, right? And so we said yes, and we went back and we looked and we worked with our friends at the Georgetown Health Foundation, and together in collaboration with that and the Y, we were able to bring steam power to all 118 sixth grade girls. Yes, I think that's tremendous. The very exciting part was they all got their own lab coats. So I hate to say it, that lab coat, getting to put your lab coat on was probably the highlight of most of their days. But I can honestly say that the survey results have proven to us that we did move the needle on making them feel more comfortable in that area. And I hope to be very humbled in 20 to 30 years after work with this, when maybe one of those young ladies goes and cures cancer, and they say that the first lab coat they ever put on happened to have a Y logo on it. I think that that is honorable work that we can very much hang our hat on. So I'm very excited to work with the district to hopefully expand that to all of the sixth grade girls in the district in the coming school year. So look for more to come on that. And I just had to throw it in there that we had the 3rd place parade at the Poppy Festival, so we know how to decorate a trailer like no other with balloons. But we very much are active in our community. There's not a community event that we're typically not at. We partnered with Wolf Ranch, and we had over 400 folks come through for Healthy Kids Day last May, so a couple weeks ago, so that was phenomenal. And we also do a variety of open houses and all-day dances and things like that at the branch. So if you are ever looking for a space, we're very much interested in working with you or your group. So what does it all mean? Okay, well, it doesn't mean anything if you don't remember what I said at the beginning, that I didn't have a why story. But because I answered a job ad, it's safe to say I've built one that I'm pretty proud of. And I love the why, and I love what it means. And I wanted to read you somebody's why story today, so that way we could celebrate one of our own. In 1964, I leaned, exhausted and confused, against the sand-colored bricks near the entrance to the Y. That afternoon, the Town North YMCA Seahorses had a particularly fatiguing workout, and I stood shivering, chlorine dripping from my hair, waiting alone again for my mom to belatedly pick me up. My stomach growled with the hunger of calories too well spent, and my mind wandered anxiously through a litany of timelessly concerns. Evidently, through my fatigue and despondency showed. Double glass doors swung suddenly wide, and out charged a vaguely familiar, suit-clad man in obvious haste. Tie uncomfortably askew, briefcase in hand, he has 2 steps past me before my presence registered in his brain. My lack of companions caught his attention. He slowed, turned to meet my gaze. I know you. I see you hanging around here all the time. Your name's Linda Fisher, isn't it? Yes, sir, I stammered, shocked. I was surprised that this man who I regarded as largely invincible knew my name. Yikes, my full name. Though I was too regularly, some would say, observed, hanging around the T&Y natatorium, he stayed largely hidden inside his corner office, importantly marked Executive Director, busy with tasks, fundraising, no doubt. Jack Simmons took 1 second more to size up the mood of the quiet, almost teenager slouching before him. With an air of patient wisdom, he said, yes, I've noticed you. And I notice your behavior when I see you too. Here it comes, right? I've noticed your behavior, and I just want to let you know that I think the world needs more kids like you. My second shock, could I have correctly, incoincidentally, insignificant me? These words need more kids like me? As I stood there feeling alone, unpopular, tired, hungry, misunderstood, this busy man took 2 minutes out of his day to notice me and to validate my important place in the world. It took him only a couple sentences to let me know that someone noticed, that someone cared. Jack turned and rushed off to some unnamed meeting for which he was obviously late, and I was left to perhaps make the first paradigm shift of my life. It would take several years to integrate this totally new and unexpected version of myself deep into the core of my very sense of self. And that briefest of conversations, Jack left me with a mental tape to this day that plays in my mind when I'm confused and confronted with discouraging barriers. It's a 2-minute tape that I play often, and it protects me in immeasurable ways. The YMCA is probably the defining institution in my life. Admired people like Jax mentored me, coached me, and advised me into adulthood, where I in turn have inspired to become a mentor, coach, and advisor to others. In body, in mind, and in spirit, the Y philosophy continues to make a difference in my life. With each and every decision I make, that 2-minute tape plays through my mind. The world needs more kids like me. Each and every day, I attempt to prove him right. And with that, I would love to celebrate my new friend that I've come to cherish and love and appreciate that she shared this with me. If we could just tell Linda, you did good. The world got exactly what it needed, and help me congratulate Linda and her Y story, because that's what it's all about. So if you have your story, we would love to hear your story and be able to share that out. I know there's some terrific ones out there, so that's a little bit what's going on with your Georgetown Y. So thank you.
Okay, all right. Now, Kat has agreed to take some questions, if any of you have any questions for her. There you go.
I was just wondering if there's any intent or discussion about changing part of the name of YMCA because of the M. I mean, is it still Young Men's Christian Association?
Yeah, the name of the association is Young Men's Christian Association. There's no discussion on changing that. We're the YMCA, and we believe in all the letters that are attached to that.
My question is related, well, actually I have an observation first.
Okay.
If you're looking for a second career as a stand-up comic, I think you can make it. Secondly, related to the previous question, have you got the politically correct police gotten after you on the Christianity part?
No, I say that because we believe in that we're founded on Christian principles. And so we embrace the word all. So we believe all is all, however you come, whether, I tell them all the time, whether you sort your laundry or you throw it all in the washer and just go for it, we don't care. We believe that everybody in our community has the right to come and thrive at the Y nearest to them, and we're a safe place that they can do that at. And our volunteers and those that help lead us definitely lead mission first and value first. So.
I want to thank you very much for all that you've done for the Y and for the community. As a past Y board chair in Southern California, and was on that board for several years, I'm also the mom of a Y kid who truly learned a lot of her leadership skills, her determination, and she learned a lot at the Y. One of the most profound experiences she and I had was at Y Camp, and we had the RAG program. I wondered if you still have that, because I still have all my rags.
Well, congratulations on that feat, because to receive all your rags takes a lot of mentorship, guidance, and goal achievement, so I commend you for that. And I also thank you for your volunteer service to the Y. YMCAs are volunteer-led, so we truly hand the reins over to community members and allow them to build and morph a YMCA that meets their needs. We do still have the Rag and Leather program. I'm a blue ragger. I need to advance to the rank of yellow rank. It's been about 10 years. So I need to make that happen. Maybe you and I can work on that outside. But we do believe in the different variety of programs. And there's a new one now where kids get a leather bracelet or a leather thing that they wear, and they earn snaps. So it's everything maybe from rocketry to science to archery. So lots of ways for them to be recognized for individual achievements and goal setting. So thank you.
Kat, thank you so much for your presentation. I've got a couple of Y stories. Many of you know that I'm from Macon, Georgia, and when I graduated from high school in 1966, I got a job at the U.S. Post Office in Atlanta. Well, the only way that I could get from Macon to Atlanta was to have a place to stay. And my mother was very particular about where I stayed. I stayed at the Lucky Street YMCA in Atlanta, Georgia. I then went to college, and I didn't know how to swim because we really didn't have a good swimming program in Macon. So I went to the Pittsburgh Y, and I learned to swim as a sophomore in college. But the most exciting thing for me in terms of the Y was playing rookie soccer at the Gethsemane Center with those 3- and 4-year-olds.
And Ron never missed a Monday. Every Monday afternoon, he was there ready to kick the ball. So I think very good. Thank you.
So I have my own stories, as Kat has heard. I used to work for the YMCA for 7 years, as a matter of fact, as a program director. We were in Indian Guides. We sold popcorn to raise money for a variety of things at our Y. And so my kids were raised at a Y. I love it. It's a great program. It is the practice of our club to have our speakers sign a book. And if we can get you to sign that, and we will give it to Pearl Elementary for their library. Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Are there any other announcements for the good of Rotary? All right. Would you please join me in saying the things we think, say, and do? First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will be beneficial to all concerned. Have a safe, happy weekend. See you next week.